Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, well, it's a sewing vlog. It's a little bit of everything. I do some beading. Well, this is some beading that I did, and then I show you the finished product. And this is some beading that I do, and I show you the different steps. And then I also show you some of my beads. I got my little baby ducks. They're so cute. And some very bling gem looking beads. And, two new fabrics. One you've seen before. It's perfect. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket. So last time you saw this jacket, it had about half the amount of beading around the neck, and it also had these beads on the shoulders. But as soon as I finished that video, I was like, no, I just don't like it. Like, I was trying for a while, I was determined to try and like it, but I just didn't like it. So this is what it looked like last time you saw it. See, the beads around the neck are much thinner, same around the cuffs and the wrist. And and the shoulders, like, they were slightly uneven color-wise, which made them look uneven. And I just didn't like it because I've got such small shoulders. It's not good to draw attention to my shoulders. Like on a short jacket with the tiny little sleeves, then it's fine because you've got the massive visual weight of the decoration at the bottom of the cuffs. So having stuff over the shoulders is fine. It balances it really well. But especially when you've got lots of bulk around the neckline too. But with this one, it just, like, the full length, the sleeves just look so nice and tailored the way they are on a tweed, one of my tweed jackets. So I just took them off carefully, and I decided to use them a different way and sort of do twice as much work, beadwork, just the fringing around the edges. And yeah, I had almost had enough to do, exactly enough to do two lots around, like two on each one. So I did that, and then there was this tiny little back section in the back of the middle. So I went searching for more pale pink beads, and I finally found some. So there was just enough to do the whole jacket. Oh, and in the last video I told you that I had these sort of apricot marbled beads. They would have made the whole jacket look sort of more peachy if I'd used them. So I just got a couple of them out to show you. They're going to look nice in what I use them on eventually. But yeah, it would have been a sort of more peachy blush if I'd used them. Anyway, so I'll show you that one on the mannequin in a minute, but I had this one on the mannequin, so I'll show you. I'll spare you, I didn't film myself doing this. So last time you saw this jacket, it just had two colored beads on the solid, so the opaque green and the opaque navy blue beads on there, and I just put the transparent bright green beads around the bottom, around the hemline, and I couldn't figure out how to do the center front, so I was like, we'll put that aside for a moment. Anyway, I got around to doing the cuffs, so the sleeves, and I also did quite a lot on the inside of the neckline and a little bit at the top of the center front where both sides of the front of the jacket meet. And I love the neckline here. It just looks like little grass bits are sprouting out of it. It is so pretty. And actually, after I did it, I put it on the mannequin, and I was like, I really like the contrast, because if I'd the beading on the shoulders is already quite heavy. So because they're bigger than the usual ones. Anyway, it's just quite heavy as it is. So I decided that I quite like the contrast. Like if I'd put the clear glass beads, the clear green beads, over the shoulders as well, it would have been a little bit too heavy and weight-wise. And yeah, so I like it the way it is. I think I'm going to leave it. I might do a tiny little bit more on the center front, but apart from that, I really like it the way it is. I feel like the sections where I didn't do any see-through green beads sort of help your eyes keep jumping back and forth from where there are and where there aren't the see-through green beads. Anyway, so onto this one, and I basically just did the same beading again, but you know, twice. So there's twice as much beading as you saw last time. And also I took those tufts off the shoulders and I really like it. It's a lot cleaner. The silhouette is a lot cleaner and it just looks more like one of my tweed jackets. And yeah, I really like it. But also the 2 layers around the hips, like around the hem of the jacket, kind of reminds me of Degas' Little Dancy. You know that artwork? Here she is. She's so pretty. There's actually, so when they make a metal sculpture, what they do is they actually carve it into wax. Then they dunk that in plaster. And then they melt the wax out and they put the metal in. And that's how they make a metal sculpture. And that's why the carving marks in there look so handmade. They literally are. They're melted into wax, a lot of them. So they also make multiples. And I didn't know that. Like the first time I saw Degas was either in Paris or UK or whatever. And then the second time I saw her was probably at the Met in New York City. And I was like, she's wearing different clothes. How? Why did they dress her in different clothes? But anyway, so each museum purchased one. And then because she's so old, the sculpture is so old, the certain elements degrade and they've redressed her. Like each conservation team sort of research from available fabrics and then get what they consider the most similar to what it was. So some of the skirts are shorter, some are a little bit longer, and some of the ribbons in her hair are these big satin pink ones, the really heavy satin, and others are sort of look like a cheaper, lighter satin. And it's just interesting how, like, they're cast from the same mold and they were dressed the same way originally, but you see them in different continents and she's just so different. It's amazing. Anyway, so the base beading on this jacket is done, and I was going to do the triangle on the back. I've got 2 different types of beige sequins. One's 12 millimeter, one's 10 millimeter, and the 10 millimeter ones are fancier. So I was going to do the bigger one on the bottom, seed bead, fancy one on the top, then a seed bead to anchor it. But I don't know. I really like the idea of somehow making it a little bit Degas' Little Dancer-ish. So I don't know. She's wearing this really pale pink tulle tutu. So maybe I'll introduce pale pink in there or something. I could use pink beads. That would do it. And like do a triangle underneath it of netting that you could sort of see underneath, sort of like a shadow underneath the actual sequins. Perhaps. Anyway, for the other jacket that's got flowers on it, the Liberty print with multicolored flowers, I'm going to do fish on the back of that one. And so it's going to be buttons left over from the other pink button one. And then it's going to have fish hanging down. But I was thinking, because it was World Cafe Day the other day, and it's got the fishing net on it. I was like, oh, oranges have that fishing net on them. You know, when you buy a bag of oranges, it's kind of got a plastic orange net bag, or maybe it's just the grocery stores I go to. And so I thought next time I go to the grocery store, I'll get some oranges and use that net to make like a fishing net and hang the and sort of mix so the fishing net will look like a triangle, and then I'll just dangle the fish over it. You have to be there. I'll try it. If it works, I'll show you. Anyway, so I also bought 1 yard of this strawberries cotton. It's a quilting cotton, and I've washed it, so but I haven't ironed it, so it's all wrinkly, and I am trying to figure out how to bead it. They did a whole collection of strawberries, so there's this one here which is adorable. So you see the life cycle of a strawberry, you see the flower, you see how the petals fall off, and the center of it actually blooms and becomes a strawberry. But there's other ones, like there's this bright pink one that it's jam jars, and they've also got spoons, and some freedom fighters dug their way out of this terrible dungeon of a prison, and they use spoons to do it. And I was just like, oh my God, it's got strawberries and spoons on it. It's awesome. So then I was like trying to look around bead places to see if they had utensils, to see if, because they have like miniature food for dolls' houses and things like that. And I was trying to see if they had utensils, but I haven't been able to find any little spoons. But I still really like that fabric. But anyway, I'll make the two out of that. So I'm going to make two different little pink bolero jackets. And I was just deciding different types of beading. I haven't decided anything yet, but I tried a few different things. This one here, I've decided that I am going to do just a few little leaves over the shoulder, but just a few. So I've put that up there to remind myself to do that. When I stitch the seams up into the shoulders, I use black thread because the fabric is a black base, but there are so many white flowers that you can actually see some of the stitches. So yeah, I'm going to basically obscure the fact that you can see some of the stitches so I don't have to like take the black thread out and do it again. And here we have another show and tell. I did this a while ago, but I just thought I'd show it to you before I take the beads off. So I've got these beads and they're sort of aqua, some are blue, some are white, some are pale green, and I love flowers on flowers. So I thought with this one, I was like, well, maybe I could do flowers on flowers. So I was doing one row where they're all even, and then I was going to go back and do a second row in between each row, and they would be, so they won't look as uniform as that. But yeah, I used the wrong anchor beads. I used sort of grassy green anchor beads, and I should have used mint or bluish, like with more of a bluish tinge. So I have to take them off anyway. But also, I feel like it's a waste. These flower beads are so amazing. If I put them on a solid fabric, you'll be able to see each individual difference in each flower. Whereas, I mean, I do like the chaos of it, but yeah, I just feel like I only have enough to really do one jacket, and I feel like that's not the best use of them. So then I posted this one on my reels recently on shorts, and I was like, I still can't decide how to bead that one. And now that I've finished the LaCroix jacket, I've got some leftover of those heavy glass sunflower ones. So I could put them on this, because this pink tweed, pale pink tweed, has 2 layers of netting as a structural layer. So it can take heavy beads, that will be fine. But also it has mint green in there. So, and like, when are you ever going to be able to mix these two sorts of flower? They're both flower shaped beads, but they're completely different. And yeah, so I could mix them, like I could do a beaded trim and mix them together on that, but I don't know. Or maybe I could just do the sunflower beads and mix them with sequins and other gold beads and other sort of scarlety, deep red ones. That would be interesting. I don't know. But then mixing those on this one would be interesting as well. Like if I made a beaded trim for the bolero jacket, that would be interesting. I've never made a beaded trim for a bolero jacket before because boleros are so tiny. But yeah, anyway, so then I carefully cut each of those flowers off. See what I mean about when they're on a solid, this is a wool cashmere blend, they just look so amazing. You can see each individual like the uniquenesses of each flower, if that's a thing. Oh, and these are my gemstone ones, so I laid out some of these so you can see, because one of my Make 9 jackets, here are some slides from the slideshow I prepared earlier. Still have to do my Make 9 update video. Anyway, those are my jackets. Number 5 is the vintage brooch jacket. So yeah, I've sort of got lots of bling things. I've still got other bits, other boxes to go through. But yeah, I've got enough of these to make one jacket, but I think I can take a few of them. And you know how I'm going to redo the Gucci green jacket? I'm going to use a few of them in that, and I'm going to use a few of them to make brooches for my vintage brooch jacket. And I've got all different greens, so these avocado green ones, they're sort of just blobs of faceted plastic with a gold spray, with silver sprayed underneath, whereas these ones are little bits of glass. And they've got metal on them. So there's all different types. So the ones that have a glass with the bits of metal on the bottom, I can sort of do standalone, whereas the ones that are, oh, I love these ones. They're just the most beautiful emeraldish glass green. So I think if you made a flower out of some gems, and then you could use those green ones as that little leaves to go around it. Anyway, or you could do like, I don't know, I've got loads of pictures of brooches. Kind of got a mix of all different ones. So some of them I can, like the plainer ones, what I'll do is make a rose or like a flower or some sort of design, and then I'll sort of bead over it with gold seed beads or gold bugle beads, so it will look like there's a gold setting and there's gems inside it. That's the idea anyway. And these ones are absolutely gorgeous. They're just really, really heavy glass ones. So, and those golden ones are obviously plastic, and the coating of silver underneath them is quite thin. So you have to be really careful. If they get a scratch on them, then it doesn't go all shiny. So maybe I'll get one of those silver metallic textures, because one of them's got like 3 dots where the silver bit has come off. And you can see it really obviously. So maybe I'll get one of those silver textures, marker pens. Anyway, so there's different blues, teals, and charcoal blacky sort of colours. So yeah, I'm thinking that I've got this amazing teal metallic fabric, so I could do the brooch jacket on that, or I've got this black suiting, so just like plain black that it tuxedo sort of is made out of, and I think that one would be more suitable. Alexander McQueen did the series of jackets where they basically look like a tuxedo, and then they bead glass beads over it so it looks like it's dripping in diamonds. So I could do that. And I also love the idea of only green and clear or diamond ones with silver and a little bit of gold. So I'm not sure, but yeah, so and this is me noticing that red and pink go really well together. Of course they do, they're one of my favorite combinations. But also I think this pink looks good in the footage, whereas the pink beads didn't really go with the pink of the fabric in real life. And here they look completely different, whereas in real life these particular beads looked good on this fabric. So I don't know, I'll probably mix the two together. But yeah, I love green and pink together. They're just so beautiful, but also pink and red. Absolutely adorable. Anyway, now I have to carefully put all of these bling gem beads away. But yes, there's lots of them. And I think like I can do the brooches, and then in between, oh, this is me just showing you the greens and the clear glass ones together. Aren't they beautiful? They're so pretty. They're just so pretty. And oh, I forgot one. So yeah, the oval ones. And I don't think I showed you the teardrop ones. But yeah, they're so beautiful. Some of them, like the cheaper ones, this one particular type of cheaper ones, well, relatively cheaper ones. I've got enough to do a whole jacket, so I think I'll use them, and there's probably going to be a couple left over. So yeah, that's the problem with the vintage brooch jacket. I kind of have to do all the other jackets first so that I know how many beads I have left over. Then I can use them in the brooch jacket. But anyway, on these my little ducks, I think I've told you, I showed you one that I was, because of my Make 9 jackets. One of them is New York City. And a few months ago, this local paper in New York, I mostly read about corruption in New York City through them, but they also do human interest stories. And they did this one about little kids in New York, in Manhattan. Like, you know, they go out and about with their parents, and their parents are always on their phones, and the kids get bored and lonely. And so someone has been leaving little ducks, and they're like a swap card system. It's for all the little kids in New York. And each one is individual, like it's a couple of dog walkers, and they buy them, and then they customize each one. Like some people do like paint little hats on them, or put a patch over it and make it look like a pirate and things like that. And then they glue a little magnet to the bottom, and then they leave them on like fences or signposts, all different magnetized mailboxes all around Manhattan. And then kids, when they're waiting for their parents to, you know, pay attention to them, or, you know, they're waiting around for their parents, they collect them, and then they take them to school and they trade them. It's so cute. Anyway, so I was going to do, one of my New York jackets was going to be a duck pond, and it's going to be like all these ducks, and they're going to be hanging down off the green, and there's going to be a duck pond on the back. Like the triangle is going to be made out of mirrors, and it's going to be a pond, and then it's going to have flowers around it, like, you know, yeah, because there's a flower named Narcissus. Anyway, there's going to be a whole thing. And yeah, so I'm going to use some of the little ducks for that. So I got loads of them, so I can, because I don't like all the colours together, so I got enough that I can divide them. So my 3 favourite groups are I've got these ones here. I've got everything I buy seems to remind me of a Chanel tweed. So I have the Chanel scrambled egg tweed, and then I have my first Chanel tweed that I got that is sort of aquas, and I have a bunch of ducks in that sort of colour. And then I have these ones here, which I think maybe the white ones. Oh, and I also have this gorgeous, gorgeous Linton tweed that's made out of ribbons and things in black, ash, and like charcoal and brown. But I don't think there's only one layer of netting on the lining for that one, on the structural level for that one. So I don't think I can use them on that. But yeah, there aren't very many black and brown ones, so I think I'll use them on something. I like these ones, but I don't really like the white ones with them. So I think I might use, this is me. I love Sully this is me trying to work out if the white ones actually go with anything. I'm not sure that they do, but I don't know. And I can just use them separately. I think they're really cute. I looked up, I didn't know where the phrase ducks in a row comes from. I was like, is it from, you know, fairgrounds and those games where you use a toy gun and you shoot things? But apparently it's from, in America, they have hunting season for ducks, and they felt like they weren't shooting enough ducks with just a regular gun, so they got a machine gun, mounted it on a boat. But when a machine gun is mounted, it can only shoot in a straight line, so they just had to wait until all the ducks were in a row, and then they mowed them down. That is horrific. Anyway, this is me showing you. So each individual duck will have a different unique string of beads that holds it, like it's going to be hanging off a string of beads. So some of them are going to be, but I've got all different colors, but I just happened to pour out those ones. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking with that. So I might use the pinks and the reds on the Red Keys jacket, because I've also got some coral pineapples that I was going to use on it. But I might they're a little bit small, and those reds and pinks are kind of in the same colours, so I might use them, because I used to have, obviously, as the name suggests, I used to have red keys on it, but people were so racist about it, so I took them off. And yeah, I think I might do the ducks on that one, and maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, so that's probably going to be one of my New York ones. And these are the flowers that some of them are going to be used around the duck pond triangle on the back. And other ones, I think these pink ones, they look like vintage brooches, like if you put a pearl in the middle. So I might use one or a couple of them on that. And these I think I'm going to use for my cottage garden jacket, which is going to be like, this green fabric is going to make 2 jackets. One of them I think will be the duck pond one, and the other one will become a cottage garden jacket. So it'll be green and then have clusters of different types of flowers over it. And yeah, so I'm just sort of working out which ones are going to be around the duck pond on the back of the duck jacket, which ones are going to be in the cottage garden jacket, which ones are going to be in the vertical garden jacket, and which ones are just going to be in a normal flower bead jacket, like my grey one. And yeah, so I think these ones all look amazing together, but it's kind of a waste to put flowers on such a busy fabric. Like, I do love a busy fabric, like and then just doubling down and putting more novelty beads on there. I love that. But I also think, I don't know, like it would just look so gorgeous if it had green beads hanging down with those green leaves, and that's it. And you could just see all the pink and the strawberries. That would look really cute. But then I've got enough fabric to make 2 tiny little boleros. So I think one I'll do green beads, one maybe the pink. But I also like the idea of white and dark green beads on there, because it's got the white strawberry flowers on there as well. Oh, and I was going through my bead soup jar, which is just a jar of leftover beads, and I found the candy one, and I think they would look good, like hanging down off like beads that actually match the jacket, because in a way the candy bead sort of matches. Anyway, so I'm not sure what to do about these. I will carefully put all these beads away again, but I do like the idea of, I keep getting asked to do beaded trim, because I do have videos about how you make beaded trim, but I was so bad at filming back then. Like, they're in the first few videos that I did for this channel, and then because beaded trim is really difficult to do. So maybe it's been years since I've done one, so maybe I'll do another one. Anyway, and this is so weird. So these metallic flowers, they're actually green. You can see when they're in the bag, they're actually green, but they have a finish on them that makes them look this goldy orange color. So it's really weird. When you see the 2 bags of beads together, the sequins look sagey green and they look like they match the plastic bead flowers, but when you get them out, they totally don't match each other. So yes, I won't be using them together, but when you see them in the bags, they look like they would go together so well. Anyway, and the second fabric that I got is, again, it's pre-washed, but I haven't ironed it yet. I bought another yard of that daisy fabric that I love so much. So I did make the daisy jacket, and I used aqua. They're like they're novelty sequins that have been punched to look like Roman coins. So they've got the profile of a Roman soldier on them, or Roman emperor, whatever. And then I used the daisy flower sequin in sort of a whitish color with a mustardy gold seed bead in the middle. And yeah, I was thinking of doing another one that was sea foam. I just had so much fun working on that daisy jacket that I saw the fabric that they still had it. So I was like, oh, I could get 1 more yard and I could make 2 more jackets. So I was thinking sea foam, but oh my gosh, my camera hates this color combination. But I noticed that the daisy fabric and gold fabric look really good together. So I thought maybe gold beads on there, because it sort of makes the center of each daisy look a little bit more yellow. But also I have some old-fashioned, the sort of vintage looking sequins in a sort of tealy aqua color, and the metallic. So I thought that would look cute, but also white beads. So the fabric is white, grey with the daisy, and it's got tiny bits of aqua on there. So I was thinking maybe light grey and white and clear beads would also look pretty amazing as well. So I think what I'll do is make two bolero jackets, two Tinsy Wincy jackets, and one of them I'll bead all over, probably with sequins or small beads, and then the other one I'll have drippy down beads. So I'm not sure what colours, but I thought the seafoam would look better, but it sort of washes out the daisies, so no, I don't like it, which is fine because I've got two tweeds that I was supposed to be using those beads on, so they can go back to the beads there, to the ones they were actually supposed to be used on. And I've got this one up here because I still haven't done the shoulder or the cuff, like the sleeve beading on these ones. So I have to do that as well as the few leaves that I have to do on the other black and white flower jacket. So I will go and do them. Oh, and I left my little sample beads here for the strawberry. I don't know, I just think they're cute little samples. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching my show and tell episode. Well, I did do some beading. I'm so glad that I took the beads off the shoulders of this one. Like, I guess sometimes I just forget how tiny my frame is. And I absolutely love that that jacket now reminds me of the Degas Little Dancer. I absolutely love that sculpture, all versions of her. And yes, I hope you enjoyed seeing my beautiful gems. I've got lots of other ones as well, like a few beads. You know, at the start of last year, I had a month where I did jackets inspired by, I watched the movie Desperately Seeking Susan, and there was one that sort of, she has these big Egyptian earrings, and I did this bling jacket. And I've got a few gem-shaped beads left over from that one, which I'll have to dig out. But yeah, lots of fun, colourful jackets and designs in my future, I think. I love these. I think the bright green beads, the leaf-shaped ones, really bring out the goldness of the seeds on the strawberries. I think that's a great combination. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks very much for watching. Happy sewing. And just playing with your fabrics and your bead collections. Sometimes it's more fun than sewing.